Right, I hope everybody has been scared with our new intro. This is the Lokomotiv episode. This is Lokomotiv special of the Whatever This Is podcast. It is our 11th episode. Thanks a lot, as always, for the support on all of our previous episodes. This week, we have two substitutions. This week, we have two new people joining us. Well, not new. Artem is back after he had technical difficulties with his car last week. Artem, how you doing? What's up? It's good to have you back.
Can't believe you called me new there for a second.
I mean, it is a substitution, though.
It's a substitution, but I'm not new. I've been here. I've been here from the start. It's good to be back finally. I honestly feel the same without being on this podcast last week.
Well, that's disheartening to hear, and it is, of course, great to have you back. And this week we have a very special guest. This week we have, you'll probably see him on the screen, and he's going to introduce himself right now. We have the king of Russian football troll Twitter. We have a fervent Lokomotiv fan, one of the biggest fans of this podcast, one of the guy who's always lightening up our mentions and retweeting the podcast and helping us out. An RFN writer featured on the Guardian Footy Weekends. Big man, okay? He's a very special guest, and we're honored to have him on the podcast. Ilya Sokolov, how you doing? What's up?
Hi guys.
Introduce yourself.
Thank you for inviting me. Appreciate that, and go Royals. A la Madrid.
Go Royals is he's already one of the best guests we've ever had with Go Royals. People who follow my Twitter would know what the Royals are. But this week we've actually got the bulk of this podcast is just going to be us talking to Ilya about Lokomotiv. We have a special Lokomotiv thumbnail which you guys will probably see. We're going to discuss Semin, Ze, Kvicha, trains, RZD, everything which has to do with Lokomotiv. But there were actually some things to discuss this week, so we'll start off with them. The main thing is the horrible, boring international break, which is basically an international COVID festival. And Russia have lost a game to Sweden in a friendly, and they also played Turkey and drew that game. They play Hungary tonight. So, Artem, have you watched any of these games? What have you thought? Have your thoughts on the international break changed? And just what do you feel about the international break so far?
I didn't watch the Sweden game, and thank God, because that result is not great, is it? I heard Russia didn't play well either. But I did watch the Turkey game. We looked good in the first half. We looked like we controlled the ball quite well. We looked like the team that was going to go on and win. And then Turkey came back, scored that goal, and Russia in the second half just were not really really not threatening the Turkey defense. So a bit disappointing to see, but we're still top of the group. If we win tonight, we all but secure that first place spot. So
right, that's true. Do hope for a win. I'm not going to be watching the games. I've not watched a single international game in this break. Ilya, what about
boycotting?
you? I am essentially boycotting. Even if I wanted to, I just can't focus on them because they're just so irrelevant. Like, what's the point? Like, there's no. I honestly would rather watch like PFL or FNL or some dumb friendly between RPL clubs, honestly. But Ilya, what about you? Have you been keeping track of the international break, and what are your thoughts on the international break in general?
There's a joke in Russian Twitter. People who watch Nation League's games, they also add cold water to their tea, and they remove pickles from cheeseburgers. So, like, there's a question for you: do you add cold water to your tea and remove pickles from cheeseburgers?
No, I do not add. Who adds cold water to their tea? That's one of the weirdest things I've. Do you mean like adding cold water to like hot tea, or do you mean like having iced tea or something?
No, like the tea's too hot and you add cold water to it.
That is psychopathic behavior. Who does that?
Yeah.
A lot of people do that with milk, to be fair, to cool it down. But like,
no, milk is fine, but
water.
Like, so you made tea and you're putting. Just wait for the tea to cool down. Ilya is giving us some groundbreaking information already. But I presume you haven't watched any of these games then, Ilya.
Yeah, I just I turned on the TV, but I didn't watch. I'm happy for Miranchuk to score because he's just simply the best player in the team right now. Yeah. But yeah, I watch in international during international break. I didn't watch anything.
Yeah, that's fair. And Listen, all I have to say about the international break is first of all, congratulations to the U21 team. They're actually a lot more exciting than the senior team. I still think they would beat the senior team. They beat Latvia 4-1 and they've qualified for the U21 Euros next summer. But I mean, to end on the international break, I tweeted
I
saying that.
actually, sorry, Hannah. I
Yeah, go
actually
ahead. No,
forgot. I watched one game, Serbia against Norway, and I thought Norway would easily beat Serbia. What we've seen before against Russia. But I was surprised, like how stupid Lars Lagerbeck, how can't just understand how to play football because Norway was like something like Faroe Island.
yeah. Was it that Nations League playoff though, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, see, those ones I can still understand because you go to the Euros from that. But like the regular Nations League games, I just can't. But yeah, speaking of Scandinavian teams, Russia played a back three of Zhanayev, Kutepov, and Kudryashov, and all I said was, any team that can't score 2 goals minimum against that defense deserves to be banned from football or put on fraud watch. And gladly for Sweden, they did. So they're a legitimate football team, thanks to that. Then we have the RPL is coming back this weekend, I think. I don't really know what games are there. And the Champions League comes back next week. We're probably going to do a stream. Ilya, you have to join us for our Champions League streams, by the way. Last time you were in the chat, this time you have to be in the call itself.
Yeah, sure. I'll be happy to
Oh,
troll
we've got two
David
big
Crawford.
games.
Yeah, we've got Rotor Tambov and CSK Dynamo. Those are the
I was
huge games.
thinking more Zenit against Sochi. That's a rivalry there right there.
Wait,
Zenit
you've got
versus Zenit 2.
and you've got Spartak versus Spartak too,
Yeah, that's true actually.
and you've got. Do Lokomotiv always lose to Ufa or is that some other club?
Geez, I don't know what to think about too far right now after you've saved leaving.
Nah, yeah, they're going down for sure. That's they're going down for sure. But yeah, we've got some interesting games, so might be worth keeping an eye on that. Then we're going to move swiftly on to transfers. Not that there are many. The window's closed. But today we had some news about Rostov, who, in my opinion, have moved like a proper mid-table club this window. They're going to sign Terentyev from Zenit, and they're going to loan back, or they're going to loan Chistyakov to Zenit. Now, Vendel has also arrived in St. Petersburg, so Zenit is sort of getting a late transfer flurry. Artem, what do you think about that transfer, and do you think that where do you think Chistyakov will play? Do you think he'll be like a backup centre back, or do you think he might actually have a chance of getting into the starting 11?
Firstly, this is the first time that I'm hearing of this news.
I
And
just
second of all, I
how
I
you I just
oh
messaged that to you on Twitter. What do you mean you're the first time you're hearing this news?
man, I'm just like okay, I've been awake for a while, but I haven't been focused yet. Like um I think he'll probably be a backup, but I honestly I don't know what to think of that transfer. What about you? What do you think?
I think he'll be fine, and I think he's going to be as good as Lovren. And I think we should have just bought him and a couple of others.
Okay,
So
that's just a ridiculous statement. He's not going to be as good as Lovren. Like,
Lovren's not that good. If you had a player with the skill set of Lovren, with the exact skill set of Lovren, okay, and he was Russian, you would not be raving about him. He would be mid.
that is absolutely not true.
What are you
Lovren
talking?
is
You
better
sure?
than any Russian centre back.
That's no. What I'm saying is, if you had a player who was exactly as good,
Yeah,
hypothetically, as Lovren, and he was just
exactly.
Russian and he played for Sochi, we would not be talking that highly about him. Like
Hang
we,
on,
we talk about
hang on.
Lovren
If
because
there
he's
was
mad high
if there
profile
was
and
a
everything.
Russian player the same level as Lovren, he would not be playing for Sochi in the first place. Okay.
That's not
Second
true.
of all, right, I was raving about Chikia and Kutepov. So there is 100% chance of me raving about Lovren as a Russian.
Okay, what do you think, Ilya? First of all, what do you think about Lovren?
Lovren, I think he's like in top three among like Russian central defenders. Of course, not number one because two of them play for Lokomotiv. Chorluka and Rajkovic are better
Rajkovic,
than
yeah,
Lovren,
exactly.
right? but but yeah, I mean he's fine for Zenit. He's fine.
He wouldn't get into Lokomotiv's team, no.
Yeah, of course he would not get into Lokomotiv's team. They have Lisov and they have Listsov and another guy with that similar name. Lokomotiv, I mean, their depth is just unparalleled. But Artem, how...
If you give, like, if Kverkrele goes on loan from Lokomotiv, how can you be in this team?
I cannot believe his fall from grace. He was linked to a massive move to the Premier League, like, just 2 years ago. Like, West Ham were watching him. They were willing to pay, like, 10 million or something for him. Like, he was rated as one of the best centre-backs in the league. And now, like, Jesus Christ, he's just gone downhill.
But Ilya, did he actually go downhill or did he just stagnate? Because I think he's still not a bad player. I think he's still good.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about him with the Ahmad Grozny scout. It was like 5 years ago, and he said something like he's the best central defender in the league. Well, he was in Rubin, actually. And I remember him playing for Lokomotiv in the Champions season. He was really good. He was fine. But I mean, later, maybe he didn't like to be on the bench. Maybe he had some clash with Hövedes. I don't know. But I mean, it happens sometimes to Georgian players, that they stagnate. So, but I don't want to say any names, but you know them.
No, I'll say the names for you. Ilya is planning a whole 10-minute rant on Kvicha as we go on in this podcast. Everybody's gonna listen to that. We'll get to that in a second. But okay, Artem, do you think Lovren is the best centre back in the league?
No, I don't.
Okay, who's better than him?
I think Rakitsky is better than him.
Wait, what? Wait. You think how do you think Lovren is a good deal if you think Rakitsky is better than him?
I think Rakitsky is better than him. I think Rakitsky is more solid. But
yeah,
I think that together they're a great partnership. What do you mean? Why would we sign him if Rakitsky is better than him? I think that Rakitsky is the solid one, whereas Lovren is the one who's going to have a world-class performance or play all right.
All right, that's fair.
I think the thing is, if think about it this way, right? Lovren can play a game that's like, let's say 5 out of 10, but he can also play a game that's 9 out of 10. Rakitsky's usually just a 7 or an 8, yeah. So if you can have one player who's consistently putting up those 7 or 8 numbers, and have one player who like has potential to put up really, really high numbers, I think that's a good partnership.
Okay, and where do you think what level do you think Chistyakov is at? 6 out of 10 on a consistent basis?
I'm not gonna lie and say I've watched enough of him to judge. I really haven't. So I'll leave that up for other people to judge. I don't think he's going to get in the team ahead of Lovren or Rakitsky.
Yeah, no, that's true. Ilya, what do you think of Chistyakov? Do you think he can start for Zenit maybe, or do you think he's just a lower class Rajkovic?
Why do you mock like Rajkovic? I mean, did you watch Rajkovic's stats? First of all,
no, because he played in 3 years though.
Yeah. This is the guy who played against Bayern Munich in a 90-minute game, and it finished 1-1. I mean, do you know many players?
When was that?
Just check his stats. Like find Rajkovic in Transfermarkt and see. Yeah,
now.
There are actually other games against Bayern, but I won't mention them. So, I mean, the guy will show his class in the Champions League for sure. So, how can you compare Chistyakov to Rajkovic? I don't get it. As for Zenit, of course, they have the best pair of defenders in the league.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think Terentyev is better when he's healthy, but he's not, unfortunately. Terentyev could be the best defender in the league, but unfortunately, he has only one leg because I think he's either just made of wood or something. He doesn't run or something.
Yeah.
I think Rajkovic's stat lines in the RPL are likely to be something like games played 10, fights started 14.
No, I think he's going to play one game, he's going to get red carded and never play again. I think he's going to get his contract terminated in the winter break by Loko. That's my prediction. I'm dead serious on that.
I do remember a legendary game Tarasov played against Zenit. It was 5-3, and he went on the pitch, got yellow card.
Oh, I remember that as well. Yeah, that was mad. That was like 4 minutes. He came on in the 82nd, and then he got red card in the 86th. But yeah, what was I saying? I think we've been disrespecting Zigo and Zeki a little bit because I think they are the best two centre backs as well as the best defensive partnership in the league.
You think they're the best defensive partnership in the league?
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
like
they ca-
Zigo is I think on level with Rakitsky, maybe slightly better, maybe 0.5% better.
right.
But like I think Chikia, he's kind of similar where like he can have a really really good game, but I think more often he's not as good as like either Lovren or Rakitsky. I think the Zenit's partnership is better.
That's fair. I mean, I don't. I think top two are
We should
Zenit
do a
and
Twitter poll on that actually.
yeah, we should. We will do a Twitter poll on that. And I also think Gogua and Kurkwelia is actually a good partnership for defense. Like I'm not. I'm being dead serious. I think they are. They should be playing at a better club than Rotor. Is what I think. They've both been memed a little bit, but I do think that they can play at a higher level. But yeah, we're gonna get off this topic. I don't even know where we got on it. Where we started off talking
How
about
much did you
this.
get from Dmitry Celuk praising Gogua?
Listen, man, listen. If I start talking about Dmitry Celuk, I will get either cancelled or I'll have a lawsuit, right? Artem knows about my theory about Dmitry Celuk. One day I'm going to share it on this podcast, okay? But like, if anybody wants a hint, all you need to do, okay, you know what? We're going to talk about it now. Fuck it. We're going to go to Dmitry Celuk. We're going to check his players, right? All you guys need to do, you need to go to Dmitry Celuk's players, have a look at a few of them, right? Just have a look at these ones that are down in the bottom. Look at their career paths. Look at the amount of games they've played, and you'll piece it together. There is some dodgy stuff going on over there, and
Allegedly.
allegedly, of course, everything is alleged. Okay, I'm just alleging everything. And Yaya Toure was a fluke. Dimitri Saluk has a career because of Yaya Toure, and that was a complete fluke. But Ilya, I'm not being paid by Dmitry Celuk. However, if Dmitry Celuk does want to pay me, I'd be more than happy to. I'll come in here and talk about how Charles Kabore is the Burkina Faso N'Golo Kante. I'll do whatever you want. So Ilya's raised a good point there. If any agent wants to pay this podcast to plug their players, we'll be happy, more than happy. I'm sure Artem will agree with that as well. But
Yeah, I'm down.
I'm definitely down. But yeah, moving on to the next transfer. Spartak have been linked to every right back in existence. I think they're going to bring out Danny Alves out of retirement, maybe even Philip Lahm, perhaps play them at right back. But most recently, they were linked to Victor Moses, and apparently it was all really, really close in medical time. They're going to loan him in. I would think that this is going to be a great transfer for them as well as for Victor Moses. But I'm going to ask you, Ilya, what do you think of this transfer? And do you really think Spartak need a right back this desperately?
First of all, I'm gonna say I hate Victor Moses because uh, when I played Football Manager, I was appointed by CSK Moscow
Right.
after being fired from Spartak actually. So, and they had only one right winger, who's Victor Moses, and he left in the winter transfer window for some Saudi Arabia team, and so I had no right wingers at all. I had to play with Oblakov on the right or something like that. I mean, the guy just betrayed me. So
Wait, hold up. Aren't you betraying Lokomotiv by playing with both Spartak and CSK on Football Manager, though?
it's kind of strange. First, like I chose Lokomotiv as my favorite team, but I started with Nizhny Novgorod, then Ufa hired me, then Spartak, and they fired me the same year they hired me. Then I was appointed by CSK, and I finally won the league for CSK Moscow. But then I was fired. Now I am in Krasnodar and finished
Oh,
playing.
is save still going?
What?
Is the save still going? Like, are you still playing that save?
Uh, I have that save, but I haven't played it for like
Okay.
half a year because it's no fun playing for Krasnodar. Actually, you can understand that
Yeah.
because Galitsky is really hard. I mean, on coach. So I think yeah, I think Spartak always had a problem with right back because they had really good left backs. Like I think Kombarov was actually underestimated, but as for right backs, I remember Lokomotiv um, always using that spot. I mean, always scored goals from that zone or made some really good
Yeah.
crosses. Okay, so yeah, I'm not sure Victor Moses can solve this problem. Maybe nobody can. Maybe they need Valencia.
Valencia would be nice. I'm not even joking. But Artem, what do you think about Victor Moses?
I would have really liked to see him in the Russian league.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see him at Spartak. It's a shame that the transfer seems to have delayed. So maybe something else will happen, but at this point I doubt it.
Yeah, but I think because Victor Moses is he's played like at so many places. He was at Fenerbahce, and if you remember that Zenit Fenerbahce game, the first leg, he was absolutely mental in that game. He's playing like prime Marcelo on that left back spot, and I do think he will. I think he probably should come to Spartak. I really hope he does. That would be a very good high profile transfer. They've been on fire on social media and on the pitch recently, so I think Victor Moses would only add to that. But Artem, do you think something needs to be said about Shamil Gazizov or Spartak's transfer team? Because they've been linked, they've been almost as bad as Lokomotiv. They've been worse than Lokomotiv at trying to woo a right back. Because Lokomotiv, they were linked with everybody, but they finally got Zé Luis in the end. Do you think something needs to be said about how ineffective Spartak's team is in finding that one player that they need, or do you think it's just a regular transfer window and there's not much to be angry about over there?
I actually think it's just a normal window. I think they've set their sights on like high profile players, maybe players that are just out of their reach.
Right.
So I think it's one of those cases where this is going to be another FM analogy, but like, do you ever get whenever you're looking for that perfect player and it's like there's like maybe five players you want that are maybe just out of your reach that probably won't want to come to your club unless you like, give them a mad amount of money that you don't have. And then the rest of the players that you're looking for in that position are just shocking. So it's
Yeah.
like you're going for those five players. You're like, oh, I really hope one of them comes, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't happen, and you end up without the player you want. So
Yeah, and you
I think it's
have
just one of those situations. I think that like they're not, they're probably not going to get a right back if they don't get Victor Moses at this stage.
and they're gonna in what happens in Football Manager is you don't find a player, then you have no replacement, so you promote the 16-year-old one-star rated right back, and he has a man of the match performance in his first game. That has happened to everybody, and I'll be shocked if it hasn't. But they have a Shenko, and they still have Shishkin, or did Shishkin leave? Do we know?
No, Shishkin's gone.
Because they signed Shishkin for Spartak too. I don't know if he's still there or not, but whatever.
I
Uh,
forgot that even happened. Did I not still have Raskaskov though? No.
no, he went to Tula, I think.
Did he? Jesus, I missed a
Yeah,
lot.
he went to Tula. Uh, pretty sure he went to Tula. But yeah, there you go. He's at Arsenal Tula. Honestly, I don't know why they did that though, because he would have been fine. I don't know what issue they have with him, or if it's a contract dispute or whatever. But I just think, I personally think that Spartak really need to finish this off, get a right back, or just stick with Roman Zobnin. I think he's been doing fine. But it's getting tiring now. Every third day you have a Spartak really close to signing a right back, and then nothing comes of it in the end. But next thing we're going to discuss, and this one was sent in by our good friend of the show, was on the pod. It was sent in by Richard David Pike, who is an RFN writer and saying it for the third time, but a friend of the show. And this basically contains like the list of every player that's in the Serie A, how much wages they're being paid. And we're going to specifically focus on two players, which are Eldor Shomurodov and Miranchuk. Now, Ilya, we're going to come straight to you. Do you have any thoughts on Miranchuk being the fifth highest paid player in Atlanta and he's being paid 1.5 million? Does that I know you're going to say he should be paid 10 million, but and what do you think of the overall transfer as well? How do you think he'll do at Atlanta?
Yeah, first of all, we talk about wages. I'm really proud of Miranchuk that he agreed to such a wage, because he definitely got more in Lokomotiv. He could get millions there, but he decided to move. And Atlanta just don't spend much on salaries, so that's why he gets only 1.5. As for the move, I hope he'll shine in Atlanta, but it's hard to say right now. There were rumors that Gasperini is not satisfied with his work. That he's not really good in terms of pressing.
Right.
I heard it's just rumors, because it's true that in Lokomotiv he got more freedom than other players, and maybe he didn't defend well, so he was free to such work. But I'm pretty sure that he's ready to play on Gasperini standards, and we'll
Yeah.
see. It's really hard to say before he plays his first game.
Yeah, that's true. And Artem, we've already discussed Miranchuk, but I want to get to Shomurodov, and then I have another question for both of you guys. Now, Shomurodov is being paid 1.3 million, which is the joint second highest in the entire Genoa squad. Now, originally, like a few of the RFN guys, even yourself, I was slightly skeptical about this move because Shomurodov has not been on the greatest form. It's a lot of money to pay. But the more I think about it, the more I think that Genoa are actually have a proper plan for him, and I think he's going to do really, really well, because the last time I think they spent this much on a striker was for Diego Milito, who had a pretty decent career, to say the least. They also signed Piatek, who moved straight to Milan 6 months later, and he was bought directly from the Polish league, I think. So they do have a history of signing strikers from, let's say, not the most cliched markets and doing really, really well with them. But Artem, what do you think about Shomurodov being paid 1.3 million, and have your thoughts on the transfer changed from last time?
No, the thoughts on the transfer still haven't changed, but it's mad to say that he's the joint second highest paid player in that team. You know, I was only thinking, looking at this graphic, I would love to see one of these for the RPL. I'd love it.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what? Look, because it's a known fact that players in the RPL are paid too much, okay, or a lot more than, let's say, most of these Serie A teams, right? When you look at Atlanta, it says Atlanta wage bill is in the bottom half of the Serie A, and Atlanta did extremely well in the Champions League. Now, I know the foreign limit is one thing, and I know that the Serie A is a much higher quality league than the Russian league. But Artem, do you think that the RPL, with the amount of wages that it spends, the wages that it throws away on perhaps subpar players, do you think the RPL should be doing much better for itself, or do you not think so? If that makes sense.
No, I don't think so. I think that the top of the Serie A, go back to the front, go back to Juventus and all those,
Yeah,
if you look at how much money's being spent there, okay, in those 5 teams, I don't think that there's any team in the RPL that's spending that much money. And yet, I think that there's a couple of teams in Russia like Zenit that would probably compete with the likes of. Okay, they probably lose over a 2-leg series against a Roma or a Milan, right? But they'd
yeah.
still have a chance. There's no team. I'd say Zenit's wage bill is probably, what would you say? Probably in between Fiorentina and Lazio, would be my guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think that Russian teams are actually Zenit, let's say, are performing at a level probably what they're expected to, if maybe not higher. I also think that the lower teams in Italy are just as bad as the lower teams in Russia.
Yeah, I 100% agree there.
I think that the only thing that's really separating the Russian league from the Italian league here is, those top 5 teams in Italy having that much more money. I don't think that, like you said, the Russian players are overpaid. Like,
I
overpaid,
think
I don't
all
think is the
players.
word. Like, people are paid what people are willing to pay for them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I get that there's not that much of an incentive to pay players to win the RPL, for example, because the money isn't very high. Like
yeah,
the money to win the RPL, the money to come any position in the RPL is not very high. But is that made up in Champions League money? That made up in sponsorship? Maybe.
yeah. It depends on who you are, also. But Ilya, what do you think? What do you think of comparison between the Serie A and the Russian league? And do you think wages are a bit too inflated in the RPL? And before you answer, actually, I just want to say that I am completely against any sort of wage cap, a hard wage cap, or anything of the sort. People say that so often that, oh, you know what, players are being, paid too much, and to even the playing field, we need to have lower, like a wage cap or something. I think a percentage wage cap wherein your wages should be limited to X% of your revenue, that's better. But I think people that say that, oh, you know what, we're going to limit it to like a fixed sum, so 1 million per year, I think they have no idea what they're talking about, in all honesty. So I am in favor of more financial freedoms in football. So I just, like to put that out there. But yeah, Ilya, what do you think of the question earlier? What do you think of the comparison between the Serie A and Russian league?
Yeah, in overall, I agree with Artem that we actually have fair salaries like in Russian league. The problem is that Russian players usually get a little bit more than they could abroad. So it's like Miranchuk's case, and that's why they not willing to move abroad because they'll never get such a salary in Serie A. Maybe in English Premier League, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure. So that's why they stay here, and that's the thing I don't like. Because like if you try to think about it, that yeah, you can move to Italy, but you lose like a million or two a year. Would you do that for like for what? Because you're not sure that you'll succeed in Italy. Maybe it's easier to say that what happens to a lot of Russian players right now.
Yeah, that's fair. I think
it's also a thing of like players, if they had a chance to move, like say you're one of the best players in the league, like let's say Miranchuk, right? Had any team lower than Atalanta in like status or anything else come in for him
Yeah.
and offered him the same money, he'd be like, well, is there?
no.
I think he'd question it as well. It's like you don't want to leave Russia just for the sake of leaving Russia. Like if Kuzayev went out and played for Alaves, I would have been like, what's the point? Like I actually prefer him to come back to Zenit. Like I think that okay, right, it's good to have some players playing in like lower teams in Italy and Spain and everything, but like I don't want our best players playing for those. I prefer them playing in Russia. Like, what would be the reason for them to leave if it wasn't for one of the better teams?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think what Miranchuk was linked to clubs like Fiorentina and stuff, and I would have immediately said no to that. I think Shomurodov is probably a Genoa quality player, and of course, if he does well, he'll get a bigger move. But I do agree with you that it is good to have high level players at least have some, because if you when you go to clubs that are in the mid table or even in the lower half of these leagues, you just become just another guy, right? Whereas in the Russian league, you at least, because even if the pool is smaller, you at least have some people appreciating you, or at least you're a fan favorite at some club, right? So that, apart from the money, that's also, I think, something that players consider. But I mean, yeah, that's all we sort of have for this segment. Now we're just going to start grilling Ilya. Ilya, I'm getting straight to it, right? First of all, so what I'm going to do is, okay, you know what? No, okay. Ilya, what are your thoughts on Lokomotiv season thus far?
Jesus.
It's a loaded question. You can take your time though.
I think no, I think we're actually doing great in terms of what happened before. And I mean, I like the changes. I mean, maybe you don't see them, but I like that Nikolic is actually trying to change something, but still playing the same football we did, but maybe some little alterations we have, and of course I don't have any expectations of the Champions League. Like, I mean, second place in the group would be fine for me, but I'm not sure we
You're
can
gonna
make it.
finish. You're gonna finish bottom with a goal difference of -37.
What are you talking about? We have Rajkovic, man.
Raikovic is at the back though. Like up front, you have nobody. But wait, do you honestly think that Nikolic has done well though?
The thing is, it doesn't matter who the head coach is because our real coach is Oleg Pashinin, and he's still in the team. This is his football, not Semin's or Nikolic's football. I don't know why he doesn't want to be a head coach of Lokomotiv, because he was definitely offered such a job.
Right.
But yeah, he's a tactical genius, and doesn't matter Nikolic or I don't know. There are links to Martinez, right? That doesn't matter.
Right. Okay. Artem, I'm gonna come to you, even though you're not a Lokomotiv fan. What do you think is the biggest issue Lokomotiv have this season? Is it
Uh,
the squad? Is it their manager? Is it their management? Is it their transfers? I don't know the answer to this myself, so I'll just put you on the spot because no reason.
I don't think that we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I
Yeah.
said I wasn't a fan of the transfers. I do think the transfers should have been better, especially if they knew that Miranchuk could be leaving. Obviously,
Right.
things happened quite quickly, but I would have thought that they kind of would have factored that in and thought, okay, right, he might be leaving, so let's leave a foreigner spot for someone who can come in and replace him or something like that. But I don't know. I can't really pinpoint it. Like, I can't say that I've watched every Lokomotiv game or anything. I've probably only watched one or two this season, so
Yeah.
it's really not up for me to say.
Right. Ilya, what have you thought of your transfer window so far?
I don't know, as good as usual. I mean,
Not great.
yeah, like I didn't expect anything great from transfer window, so I'm really happy we signed another forward, and we actually have an excuse uh, to
Lose.
sell George Reach, Dover, and these guys, send them on loan because they definitely don't deserve to be in the team. Idowu was actually good on YouTube videos. He's a funny guy, but he's not like a left back for Lokomotiv. So,
Yeah.
but if you look at this transfer window, signed Zeluz, signed Lisakovic, who's already doing great. This young talent, Jalaluddinov, we'll see. And
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure about Kamano. I don't get what football he's playing, because like Kamano is a strange transfer, but maybe he'll shine. But he looks like Joao Maria right now, so I don't really have an opinion on
Yeah. I
him.
mean that's. I forgot Jalaluddinov actually. I tweeted yesterday about how angry I was that he's gone to Tambov of all clubs in the world, because I think that's just going to stagnate his development. He's not really going to get much out of that horrible, terrible team that needs to go down. But right, Ilya, I'm gonna cut the nonsense. I'm gonna come with a straight question. Is Kamano, Eder, and Ze the best strike partnership the RPL has ever seen?
Well,
Okay, okay, you
first
know
of all,
what? Sorry to cut you off. How many goals do you think they'll actually score this season? All three of them combined.
First of all, I don't want to sound like a smartass, Hannah, but I think you don't speak Portuguese. That's why you pronounce his name wrong. Because he's not Eder, he's Lord Eder. Let's call him this way from now on. And second, like, I think it was actually fine even before transfer window. Like Lord Eder and Smolov is a really good partnership, and we saw that
Yeah.
against big teams like CSK and stuff. Because if you like, they can actually play good football. And I'm not sure about Zeluk because he's like a Lord Eder type of player, but I don't want to be Lord Eder on the bench, you know. So
Yeah.
in Zeluk and Eder, that would be that sounds dangerous, isn't it?
It definitely
And it's
sounds
also
dangerous.
front.
How many goals do you think they'll score overall?
Or like always, like how many goals does Lokomotiv score in a season? Like 20, right?
Yeah. So, right. Art, how many goals do you think that lethal strike partnership of Eder, Luis, and Kamano, how many goals do you think they'll score combined?
Have they scored any yet?
I don't think so. I think Eder might have
Okay.
one. Let's check actually. Why
I'm
not?
gonna say 4,
Four.
and yeah, and 3 of those are gonna be Zeluk.
Oh, you really don't rate Kamano, do you?
Well, he might get what the other goal. I don't know. Like,
Alright, so you don't rate Adele, then that's disrespectful. I mean, I think they'll get like seven, maybe 6 to 7, maybe, because Miranchuk's just gonna put them on a plate. So you put
Hannah, we're 10 games into the season. They've only got 20. They've only got 20 games to score those 7 goals.
that is. I didn't consider that actually.
The thing is, guys, Lokomotiv is like a perfect team for Eder because this is actually a team where forwards don't have to score goals. That has always been the case. You don't remember any Lokomotiv forward who could actually score goals because it doesn't matter in this team. Like,
Uman Niase.
uh, I don't think
Really?
he scored a lot. He was a great player, but
Did he? I don't
if you
actually
look
know.
at his stats,
I just named a name, honestly. But
Oh, he's
you know
winning a
what?
club. They should have signed him.
Yeah, they actually should have signed him. What a legend. But
the
you know
only
what?
player I remember is Damon Doy. He's a legend, of course. But that was the time when Leonid Kuchuk actually demanded forwards to score because we had really good early crosses from Vitaly Denisov, and Doy
Yeah.
just had the one shot and goal.
I mean,
Oh,
Niase had nine. He had actually. He did pretty well.
She had,
Uh,
yeah, like he was actually very good.
Eder
Like,
has Eder. I know this. He has played over 100 games for Lokomotiv and he has 13 goals.
oh
So,
my days.
and another thing about Eder is that if you look at his name, wait, that's not Eder. Is if you look at
Don't act like he didn't do that on purpose.
I really did not do that on purpose. His name is his name, and then at the end he has COMM. Now, the untrained eye might think that this is like some sort of just I don't know, Google mistake or something, but that is actually one of the biggest, one of the highest civilian awards you can get in Portugal. So, Ilya jokingly said that he has Lord in his name, but like he actually, because he scored the winner in that final, he actually is like a recognized high order civilian in Portuguese society. And I think he's the only player in the RPL that has that. So we really should start respecting Eder a bit more, maybe. But I mean, he is a
There,
Lord.
I don't know. The thing is, there's no other Portuguese player in the Russian league that has it, but I'm pretty sure every player who played in the Russian national team during the World Cup has some kind of it's some award from the president of Russia,
Is
something
it?
like that. Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of players who have like a Master of Sport award.
Right.
But I like someone's gonna have to correct me on
Yeah,
someone's gonna have
please,
to let me know what that's called or whatever.
please do
Yeah,
let
yeah,
us know.
it's called in Russian. It's called Заслуженный мастер спорта. I don't know how to say it in English, but yeah, you're right.
All right. So, and Hwangin Biom also has some sort of medal because he won the Asian Games with Korea. So, let's just say Eder is the only Portuguese player in the RPL that has that, and you still have to respect him for that. But his stats, by the way, you can see them there. He has 102 games, 13 goals, and 4 assists. So, here's what I will say: three of them this season.
I forgot you played for Swansea.
He did play for all the legends play for Swansea. Bafutimi Gomez played for Swansea. Ayu played for Swansea.
Wilfred Boney.
Wilfred Boney played for Swansea. Michu played for Swansea. Fernando Llorente played for Swansea. This is a huge club. It's just a huge club. Can't debate that. Right. Now we're going to move on to questions and comments. We asked you guys yesterday on Twitter. We got a lot of questions. A lot of good discussion topics. First, we have a very special statement from Offset. Ilya, first of all, do you know who Offset is?
No, unfortunately
Right.
not.
So he's a rapper. He's a pretty good rapper, and he tweeted out saying
I
apple
don't know
juice
if
is
good is the word.
what? I didn't hear you there.
I don't know if good is the word.
He is good though. Wait, hold up. Do you think Offset isn't good? We need to have a conversation before apple juice now. Do you like really think the Migos and Offset aren't good?
I'm not a fan of the Migos, to be honest, man.
Well, that's disrespectful. I think they're
It's
pretty
not
good.
disrespectful. They're just not
It's
good.
pretty good. They're good.
They're
I
not
mean,
good.
it's subject. Music is subjective, but they're good. They have classics.
Your
Like you got
opinion is wrong.
my opinion. Let us know if you think the Migos are good or not. This is the least Russian football connected topic
They
we've
have
discussed.
no. They have
Ilya
some
is
good
feeling
songs, but
lost
that doesn't
right
mean they're
now.
good.
They're good.
You can have good songs without being
No.
good.
Listen, the Migos have impacted the hip hop scene. They were one of the first on that entire trap trend that we listen to this day, right?
Hang on. Eder scored the winning goal for Portugal in the Euros. That's as influential. Like the Migos are
Wait,
at the
no,
Eder
okay, no,
of
listen.
music.
No. Okay, this is extremely disrespectful. Okay, Ilya is feeling proper lost and he's going to feel lost for the next 10 minutes now because I'm going to go on a rant about. Listen, right? Comparing Eder to the Migos is disrespectful because Migos have at least two albums that are at least 8 out of 10, recognized as 8 out of 10.
Okay,
They were
two
one of the,
albums. Okay,
they
Eder
only have
scored
three.
one goal in the final of the Euros and one
No,
goal to win
no,
Lokomotiv the league title.
listen.
That's his two albums.
No, those are not his two albums. The Migos, okay, Adair has two things, right? The Migos
So did the Migos.
started an entire trend of this whole trap shit with Future and maybe Lil Wayne and them. You can't disrespect them like
Tether
that.
started an entire trend of discussing him in this podcast.
Exactly. Look, you can't deny the facts here, Hanu. Let's just get back to the football. You've gotta just you know
No,
put
no,
your
I'm,
biases aside and just agree that Eder and the Migos are the same person.
to be fair, the Migos are all like 5'5", so and Adair is like 6'7", so
Exactly. So
that statement
combine,
is
when they
yeah.
combine, it's like, did you ever play Yu-Gi-Oh as a child and you put
No,
like those five cards together to make that one?
I
Can't
only
remember
played
what
Match
his
Attacks as a
name was.
child.
But what?
Match Attacks. That's the only card game I played. Match Attacks or Cricket Attacks.
Okay. Either
Right.
way,
Anyway, yeah. Also, to end off Migos and Adair, I would rather have the three Migos in my football team than one Adair. Right?
yeah.
But,
But
so,
look, you've got to think about the foreigner limit here.
oh my God. Wait, that was fair play on that one. I don't have a response to that one. I don't. That was fair play. But right, okay, so I tweeted out a few days ago that I basically said I retweeted this or I said that he's right. And then Artem like a second later comes in my DMs, says podcast topic. But Ilya hasn't spoken for like 10 minutes. So Ilya, which juice is superior? Apple juice or orange juice?
Of
What do you
course,
like more?
orange juice, man.
Okay.
No
Artem, what do
doubt.
you think?
Right. Let me tell you something. Orange juice is good. Apple
Right.
juice is more refreshing. If you
I
wanna quench your thirst, really, you want apple juice, not orange juice.
I
I
agree.
also think that orange juice is good because it can go with a lot of different fruits. Like you can have a mix of orange juice and grapefruit or something like that. It's nice, right? But if you're talking just pure apple juice against pure orange juice, I think I'm gonna have to choose apple juice. I think I'm actually on Offset's wavelength here.
You're on set.
I'm on set exactly.
Right. You know what? You have actually thought about this with orange juice and apple juice. Here's what I think. I think orange juice is good. It's the second best juice, but it's second to apple juice, right? Like anytime you're gonna put two glasses, one's apple juice, one's orange juice, I'm gonna take, regardless of the situation, I'm gonna take apple juice. I agree that it quenches thirst and so on. But Ilya, why do you not like? Do you like apple juice at least, or do you not like it?
That I like apple juice, but I think you don't get it. It's like with Lokomotiv and with Lord Eder, you just can't understand orange juice. That's why I like it less.
One day we will get Eder on this podcast. One day. That will be like,
As long as you
of
listen to previous episode, I'm sure he'll come on.
course he'll come on. Look, Ilya, do you know Eder? Do you know anybody that might be like in the most remote way related to Eder?
Yeah, sure. A lot of guys I watched him coming near me, like when I was in the mixed zone in the stadium. So
Next time you go to the mix zone, tell him to please, like, just harass him to come on this podcast, please, for us. You got to do that. But
yeah,
moving on to football related questions, believe it or not, we are actually here to discuss the beautiful game. Eder is actually heavily mentioned here as well. This is our Eder special as well as our Lokomotiv special. First of all, I'd like to give a special shout out to this guy called Max Power who just commented saying troll pride worldwide. Respect, thank you for that. And nobody I know follows him, so I don't know how he saw it, but fair play, man. Thanks a lot. Then we have Benzinho, who's asking once again, how do Messi and Ronaldo get all the attention when Eder is the best player around? Artem, this one's for you since you've been repping Eder for the past 15 minutes.
You know, I think it's with Cristiano at least. I think it's more to do with looks than ability. I think that's the only thing really. And I think Messi's fanboys are they're just that hardcore that they're blind, they're oblivious to who the real goat is.
Eder actually has more international trophies than Messi, though.
Yeah, it's fact. So
And he scored the winner in that one. Eder is
exactly.
real, man. Eder is no joke. Uh, Ilya, what are your thoughts on this matter?
yeah, I don't understand it too. I mean, how many European Championships did Messi win? And if you look at Ronaldo's performance in the Euro 2016 final, I mean, he doesn't deserve to be in this team. Come on. Eder is the guy who won the trophies both for Portugal and Lokomotiv. This is just kind of, I don't know, some sort of
It's bias.
propaganda. Yeah, I don't know. 'Cause I think like conspiracy theory. Why Messi and Ronaldo are more popular than Lord Eder?
Can I just say, Messi has never, ever scored a goal in the Euros. He's never ever scored a goal in the RPL, and he's never even played for Swansea.
Yeah, neither Ronaldo has never scored the winning goal in the RPL. I don't think either of them have scored against Zenit. Uh, I, you know what? I think he's onto something. And by the way, speaking of Eder, I'm going to give him some proper praise here because Real Madrid are very thin on striking options. They're almost as bad as Lokomotiv. We have Karim Benzema, who is unbelievable, one of the best strikers in the world, even if he's 33 years old. Then after that, we have Luka Jovic, who is the worst player I've ever seen play in a Real Madrid shirt. I would 100% have Eder as my backup striker over Luka Jovic because and I actually think Eder has more goals in 2020 than Luka Jovic because I think Jovic has 0, Eder has at least 1. So there's that, at the very least. Artem, would you support Man United? Would you have Eder at Man United? over
I
Igalo or
support
someone.
Zenit St. Petersburg.
Yeah, but that's going to be boring if we keep talking about Eder and Zenit.
Yeah, instead of Cavani.
Yeah, Paul Scholes said Cavani should be taken on a loan. He was a free agent. So
Yeah, look, you could loan him from his agent.
that's, for God's sake. Artem is on form today. Ilya then asked, he is on the podcast, and he asked me Cesar Navas or Keylor Navas. I'm not even gonna Keylor Navas every day of the week, month, year, millennium, century, every single day. Keylor Navas. Cesar Navas is some irrelevant old fraud. He used to play for some clubs that I don't even care about. Keylor Navas, greatest goalkeeper of all time.
I think we're
They-
gonna have to. I think we're gonna have to out democracy you here.
no, we're not.
I think me and Ilya both would prefer Cesar Navas, right?
Ilya, for the sake of no, just say no, Ilya.
I mean, this is a stupid question. How could you compare these guys if like Keylor didn't play in RPL? Well, he should go to RPL and then we'll check. Because right now there's no point in comparing them. Of course, Cesar Navas is better.
Exactly. There you go, Hanu. The results are in
No, he didn't say that.
66.67%.
He did not say that.
66.67%
No,
of the
don't
Russian
do that.
football.
Don't do
Whatever
that.
this is, podcast.
Don't do that.
Agree that
He didn't
Cesar
say-
Navas is the better Navas.
No, he just hated on his own question. He just said it's a stupid question because he's basically called himself stupid. He's not said that Keylor Navas is worse than Cesar Navas. David is probably having a fit if he's still listening. He's because of the stuff I've said for Cesar Navas. But listen, Cesar Navas has never been the captain for the Costa Rican national team. He has never played alongside Brian Ruiz and Joel Campbell. Those are two legends we're talking about here. Artem, you don't have a response to that. I know you don't.
I don't need a response to it. We've out democracyed you.
No, you haven't out democracy me.
We have.
Right. No, you haven't. Ilya, it's a draw. It's a
Oh,
draw.
come on! Did Keylor play along
Look,
Alan
Hanu,
Kasayev?
this is not a dictatorship, okay? We can vote
Yeah, it
freely here.
is.
No, it's not.
It is. We bigged up Kim Jong Un. Of course, there's a dictatorship.
All right, General Aladdin.
General Alavin. Right. What was Ilya saying? Who was Cesar Navas played alongside? Yanem Villa.
Alan Kasayev. Did he play along them?
Who is Alan Kasayev? I mean, I know who Alan
he's
Kasayev.
such a throwback player.
I mean, I've heard of him, but I'm just like, what's the significance? Is
He's
what I
a
don't-
legend. You don't know Alan Kasayev. I don't have a.
No, I'm a fraud, honestly. With all
You
like old RPL players, I am definitely a fraud. I didn't know Chistyakov played in Portugal until Artem told me that 2 weeks ago. Then Leon Cypher 754, great friend of the show, probably going to get him on soon. He just replied saying trains. Now I'm going to make a question out of this. Artem, what's the best train you've ever been on?
Best train I've ever been on. I was on a really, really nice train from Samara to Moscow one time.
Right.
That probably would be the one. I can't even remember what it was called. Sapsan or something. But you know, the worst train was also in Russia that I've ever been on at the World Cup. It was one of those free trains that they organized. Me and my friends went from Moscow to Nizhny Novgorod, and it was by far the worst train ever. It had no Wi-Fi. It had no air conditioning. Like, it was the stinkiest train of all time. It was sticky. Like, it was awful. I don't think anybody enjoyed it. And to make it worse, we got to Nizhny Novgorod at 4 a.m. So it's like there's nothing even we could do.
I'm just still in shock at you being sad that there being no Wi-Fi in the train.
No
Because-
Wi-Fi is more important than no what's it
AC?
called? No air conditioning. Exactly.
Y'all have Wi-Fi in trains, man. That's mad. No Indian train. I mean, they probably do. Actually, in India, what happens is they say stuff like, "Oh, we're gonna have free Wi-Fi," but when you go there, it doesn't work. That's India in a nutshell. But the best train I've been on would probably be the Sapsan, which was from Moscow to St. Petersburg and back. And there was a train from Madrid to Barcelona. Barcelona to Madrid in Spain. That was pretty good. That was the first time I ever went on like a foreign train, not a metro. So I was shocked because of how good it was compared to Indian trains. And I mean, Indian trains are all almost the same, so they'd probably be my worst. But Ilya, what's the best and worst train you've ever been on?
Just it's hard to say. I can only recall one story when I was in a train with two Indians going from Moscow to St. Petersburg to watch an amazing game between Sweden and Switzerland, and they had a Bonaqua bottle, and I also have Bonaqua bottle, so I decided to drink a bit, and I found out they didn't actually have water in their bottle. They had something like vodka. So I didn't know Indians drink vodka, but I wasn't happy at all because I I really swelled a lot. That's why maybe I don't like Russian trains during the World Cup, because you can actually accidentally drink vodka. That was the worst train probably.
Right.
As for the best train, I have to say it wasn't in Russia. Maybe something in France, Paris to Nice, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I just remember that I was on a bullet train at one time, and I don't. It was a good train, than the one in Japan. But I've not been on too many trains actually. We're not the most educated people when it comes to trains. Metro and stuff, that's different. But Leon specifically said just trains, so we're gonna stick to that. Now is the best question we've ever had on this podcast. Why is Yuri Semin crying over Kvicha leaving Loko my favorite bedtime story? Ilya, this floor is all yours. You can hate on Kvicha for the next 15 minutes for all we care.
I agree with David. I don't understand why Yuri is actually crying, because Kvicha Kvaratskhelia got kind of the most overestimated player in the Russian league, probably. Can you name anyone else? And the thing is, that always happens with Ruben. I think Ruben should be disqualified from RPL for stealing useless players from Lokomotiv Moscow. If I remember, it happened first time it happened a couple of years ago when they stole Rifat Jamaluddinov and Georgi Makhatadze. So they ruined their careers. Makhatadze now is in Kazanka, and Jamaluddinov is just a bench player in Lokomotiv Moscow. Then they tried to steal Miranchuk brothers, but thank God they're smart, so they decided to stay.
Wait, did they? Did they try to take Miranchuk from Loko?
Yeah, they tried to take both when they had I guess they had 6 months on their contract, so they
Oh, okay.
go for
They took
free.
Tarasov as well. They took Tarasov from you too.
They took Tarasov. They took Nikita Medvedev. I mean, the guy didn't play football, and they still decided to send him. I mean, what's the point? It's just they tried to mock Lokomotiv for no reason. I think that they should be disqualified for doing that. They do it consistently for a couple of years. As for Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, he's not even worth mentioning in this podcast. Come on, the guys had amazing stats. David always mentions dribbles or something, but he doesn't know what to do with the ball. Maybe the Ruben is so weak, they just give ball to Kvicha so he can have some fun. But I mean,
No, that's fair. If you actually look at the players Ruben have played, they have played like the most randomest players. Artem, they've had Alex Song, Mubarak Wakaso, a load of players, Obafemi Martins, ton of players we've never even heard of. They had a guy from Jamaica. They had Ansardi. They also had Yanam Villa,
Don't forget Carlos Eduardo.
Carlos Eduardo. They had. Who are these guys?
Marko Devic.
Never heard of Marko Davic, but still. They really do have. Look at the Georgians. They could field an entire 11 of Georgian. Oh, they had Eremenko as well. I completely forgot about that. But they're affiliated to a club called Tractor in Iran. Right, moving on to the next question we have is, this is actually a football question, and I'm going to leave it up to Ilya. Will Anton Miranchuk rise to the challenge of stepping up into his brother's shoes now that he's left for Italy? Ilya, what do you think?
Yeah, of course, and he's already doing that, scoring goals for national team and had assists for Lokomotiv. And I think he's really a different type of player. He can actually more like a false nine, maybe, and I like what I saw in Russian national team. Actually, maybe Lokomotiv should just steal Zenit tactics and have Eder and Anton Miranchuk up front, with just Eder winning aerial duels and Miranchuk scoring. Maybe
Yeah.
that would be useful. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure Miranchuk will leave Lokomotiv in a couple of years because he's talented too. Maybe he'll join his brother in Atlanta.
Right. Artem, what do you think of? Do you think Anton is going to be as good?
It's going to be tough to be as good, but I think he's got the talent. I'm a big fan of his. Plays really well for both the Russian national team and Lokomotiv, so I do hope he can fill that slot, and hopefully he can follow his brother into Europe as well.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he'll have as given Miranchuk goes on to like play for some really big clubs. I don't think he'll have as storied of a career, but I still think he will have a pretty respectable career. He'll always be, in the top players in the RPL. Maybe even get a decent move to Europe. Won't reach as high heights as Aleksey, but he's still going to do pretty well. Next question is courtesy of Richard David Pike again. Is Ilya, what are your earliest memories of following Lokomotiv Moscow? Finally, what are your best moment as a Loko fan and your worst?
Wow, it's a really hard question. I started following Lokomotiv Moscow in 1998 after the World Cup. So during the World Cup, I supported Colombia because I just like the name of the country. So it was interesting to name the country after a guy. So then I looked at the RPL table and I chose Lokomotiv for the same reason because it's a fun name. But as for memory, earliest memory, I think that was my first live game. We went to Russian Cup final between Dynamo Moscow and Zenit, and I didn't understand that because I remember that I was already a Lokomotiv fan, but my dad was a Dynamo fan, so he decided to go to this game with me, and that's why I supported Zenit. I remember that feeling that when Dynamo were winning after the first half, and I just hated them, but hated them being a Lokomotiv fan supporting Zenit. So that's maybe the earliest memory I have. Yeah, and Zenit actually won. So yeah, that was a great game. And as for best moment as a Loko fan, maybe that game against Tyrol when they, I don't know if you know the story. We were in Champions League playoff to qualify for the group stage, and we won the first leg 3-1, and the second leg we also won it. But ref was like a grand Paul. He showed the second yellow to our player, but he didn't show red card, and UEFA decided to replay this game.
And you lost.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, it was a great decision, and we lost, but we lost just 0-1. So that was maybe the greatest goalkeeper performance I've ever seen. Maybe I don't know. He was better than Keylor Navas. I don't know for sure.
That's saying something.
Yeah, he made so many saves. Better than Manuel Neuer in the Champions League final. Just look at the highlights. I mean, I don't know how many saves saved. Like there were like 6 or 7, and we didn't concede the second goal. That's why we qualified
Right.
Of course, then Nigmatulin went to Verona and was completely forgotten. He played just one game in the top league, but maybe that was the best moment. Also, I also remember when we were competing in 2003 Champions League. We had a group with Arsenal, Inter, and Dynamo Kiev, and that was like we were losing to Arsenal in the sixth round of the group stage, and Inter had to win against Dynamo Kiev to qualify. We needed a draw between Inter and Dynamo Kiev, and I didn't have a chance to watch this game because I was abroad. We had only 3 TV channels, so I followed it on teletext.
Yeah.
You remember that thing? Yeah.
No, I probably wasn't born then. So, Artem, do you know teletext?
Repeat that for me.
Do you know what teletext is, or is it?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
Teletext
don't.
is a fucking that used to be the absolute shit. Like I remember I used to come back from like football at the weekends playing for like whatever my under sevens or my under 8 teams, and my dad would be like, "Right, let's check what the scores were in the game." He had to go on the television and fucking get the teletext up.
That's mad. I've never been through that. By the time I got interested in football, there was Google and stuff. So, and like you could search up scores. So, I've never had the pleasure of enjoying teletext. But I have seen some pictures of that, and it looks really tedious. Was it that hard to get it up? Because it's like you remember those old keypad phones where you had to like press the same thing 7 times to get to like a letter. You know what I'm talking about. Was
Yeah,
that
yeah,
like
yeah.
hard to use teletext, or was it simple?
it's like a live text broadcast,
Yeah.
but it's not live. So you just you have to maybe I think you have to renew it yourself. And I just saw Inter 1, Dynamo Kiev 0, and just sitting next to TV and praying. And then I suddenly renewed and I see it's 1-1. I really became crazy. I ruined my room. My parents weren't happy at all. Yeah, but like, I mean, watching this game on teletext, have great memories.
Well, it sounds fun. So now I wanna try and like look up teletext and see what it was like. The last question
No,
is
it's
asked.
not going to be the same because you're gonna go in with fresh eyes and you're not gonna have the nostalgic feeling. You're just gonna be like, well, this is absolutely shit because it is shit. It was probably the worst. Like, is technology essentially that could have been made in the 80s. Like it's really like the only thing about it is that it's nostalgic. That everybody went through the same thing of, oh, let's look up scores, or like let's look up the TV guide or whatever on it. Like that's the only reason, because people are like, whoa, that's so long ago.
That's fair. I don't know. You are right about that nostalgic thing because a lot of stuff people rave about doesn't appeal to me. But still, the last question is ask Ilya when he will open the Lokomotiv fan club in Norway. Before we get to that, Artem, when are you opening the Zenit fan club in Ireland? When's that happening?
It's already open.
Where is it? Why do we not have a Twitter page? Why do we have no idea where it is?
No, I'm joking, but there's a couple of people. I remember I was walking around, like I used to go to UCD, which is I think the biggest in terms of students college in Ireland. It's like 33,000 or something like that. So like once in a while I'd see like a Zenit or like a Spartak kit, and I'm like, what? Who? Where? Where did you even get that from?
I mean, you should. I mean, you should have just walked up to them and said, "Hey, you want to start an RPL fan club?" Just like that. Just like that. Maybe you should FC Zenit Ireland. Talk in Irish Gaelic in the whole time in there.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
But
lie. I've forgotten all my Irish in secondary school, so
yeah. Anyway, Ilya, when are you starting the Lokomotiv fan club in Norway?
Maybe I already did because I'm pretty sure had the first Lokomotiv T-shirt in Norway with the Ismailov last name on the back. So maybe I did, and You know, the only game I attended in Norway when I was here was Norway against Russia in 2004. It was a fun game, 3-2, and it was the first game Igor Akinfeev played for his national team. So that was actually a legendary game to attend. Of course, I cheered the Lokomotiv player, and I was angry that Ovchinnikov didn't play because I really thought he was a better keeper. I didn't change my mind. Ovchinnikov is still a better keeper than Igor Akinfeev. So, so yeah. I think I did. But to tell the truth, when I was in Norway, I supported Valeranga. I was a
Valeranga.
hard Valeranga fan. Yeah.
That's fair. We've learned a lot about you and like each other in this episode. But do we have anything to discuss? Artem, anything else you'd like to discuss?
I think that's it for me anyway.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Ilya, it's been great having you on. Obviously, we've discussed a lot. We've talked about Lokomotiv. We've everybody who sent in a question, thanks a lot. We're going to put out tweets every single week, so just send in your questions. We're going to continue having more guests on. We're going to probably do a stream for one of the Champions League games next week. So anyone that wants to get involved, just hit us up with a message. And Ilya, before we go, would you like to plug your Twitter account and anything else that you'd like to promote?
So my Twitter is Loko Sokol, LOKOSOKOL.
Right. Artem, before we go, anything else you'd like to say?
Yeah, I mean, thanks as always for listening. If you're still here, leave a thumbs up, leave a gold medal on Sports Rex,
Yeah.
subscribe, all that good stuff. And I guess we'll see you all next week.